So she has to bring this Or and Sof to a very mitzumtzum kind of human experience that could, God forbid, take a person away, because woman is very much dealing with the world. And if she would not be careful, she can be washed away by the forceful attraction of the different materialistic powers of this world. Okay, good Yom Tov everyone. Chav Beis Shevat. It's a holy day, very powerful day. And we will try to spend a few minutes at the end of the shiur relating to the power of this day. And I'm sure more will be shared in the Sheikh Chabad program tomorrow night, Be'ezras Hashem. So tonight is Chav Beis Shevat, and we are continuing the Basi Legani, which is becoming deep. So we see what we can do, but the topic of Basi Legani now in the context of our discussion is Or Ein Sof Lemata Mata Ad Ein Tachlis, that the infinite presence of Hashem goes all the way down, down, down. We began by saying that it covers all Seder Ishtalshelus, from the top to the bottom of Seder Ishtalshelus, all the way to this world. And then the Rebbe continued and said that we see through the pasuk about the karnei re'emim, the horns of the re'em and the eggs of the lice, that there are many, many tzimtzumim until the eggs of the lice that represents the Shem Havaya completely concealed by Shem Elokim, that is like a shield that covers up and conceals the infinity of Shem Havaya. Now the Rebbe will continue to say that really the Or Ein Sof is Lemata Mata Ad Ein Tachlis, in the lowest of lowest, which means the Sheol, which means the abyss, the hell of the soul that we are creating by being out of integrity and not being aligned well with the will of Hashem. Even there, the Or Ein Sof is there, Lemata Mata Ad Ein Tachlis. And Hasidus is making here a chidush. And the chidush is that it's not only that there is a Sheol, there is an abyss, there is Gehenna, there is a world with evil, and there you can find Or Ein Sof. That's not what the message of Basi Legani is. The message of Basi Legani is that actually it is Or Ein Sof itself that creates the Sheol and it animates the Sheol. And it's hard to understand, and it's hard to accept if you have issues of emunah, but it doesn't make it untrue. That actually is the same Or Ein Sof that creates the holy worlds, also creates the lowest of the lowest, the lowest of disconnect, the darkest reality. And not only that Or Ein Sof is hiding there and you will to catch it, Or Ein Sof creates it. Now today we'll go into a little bit of a Kabbalistic explanation how it is so. We will not go a lot into it, but as much as we can. Be'ezras Hashem. So we are on page Chav Beis. Hey, Os Hey of Basi Legani. והנה נסבאר לאל שההמשך למטה מטה כוללת גם העניינים שהם למטה מהקליפוס, דהיינו מי שעובר על רצון הבורא. So we explained last time that the המשך of Or Ein Sof למטה mata includes even matters that are lowest than klippos, meaning those who transgress the will of Hashem. Because klippos, even though they do negative things and they conceal over Elokus, but they do their shlichus. That's their mission. And therefore they are not transgressing the will of God. But there is lower than klippos. Whoever has the power, since having freedom of choice, whoever has the power to go against the will of Hashem. וזהו מה שממשיך במאמר. And this is what he brings the pasuk with Tehillim, כמו שכתוב, אם אשק שמיים שם אתה, if I will ascend to the heavens, there you are, ואציע שאול הנקה, and if I lie down in the abyss, in the Gehenna, in the lowest, darkest place, there you are again. שהרי עניין השאול, what is שאול? What is hell? What is hell? שאול הוא העונש לעוברי רצונו. שאול is the punishment for those who transgress Hashem's will. ועל זה נאמר, והציע שאול הנקה. And about this it says that in that punishment, הנקה, there you are, שגם שם ישנו אור אין סוף. That there too there is אור אין סוף, and אור אין סוף creates and animates all these experiences. But how so? How is it a positive thing? בעניין בזה, כפי שמבאר אדמו"ר האמצעי בשער הציציס, as the Mittler Rebbe explains, מה שכתוב, אם אשק שמיים והציע שאול, שניהם יחד. That when David HaMelech says that if I ascend to the heavens, or I descend to the abyss, they are both together. That's what we should have in our mind. שכשם שאם אשק שמיים שמעת, that just as if I ascend to the highest, holiest, spiritual worlds, there I will find the infinite, there I will find Elokus, godliness, just as that, כמו כן הציע שאול, הנקה. If I will lie down in the abyss, in the lowest and the darkest and the most depressing, disconnected state, there you are, not less than in the highest spiritual holy worlds. אתה ממש, you ממש, really, כמו שנמצא בשמיים. The same God that you can find in heaven, you can also find in hell. וכפי שמבאר בארוחה, שזה לעומת זה עשה אלוקים. As it explains at length that Elokim create in Koheles, Shlomo HaMelech, King Shlomo says, זה לעומת זה עשה אלוקים. God made one opposite the other. And that means, excuse me? And that means that it's the same God. זה לעומת זה עשה אלוקים, which means the same God that made the good, the revealed good and the divine and the holy and the highest and so on, is the same God creates the abyss. ולכן, let's continue. There is a comment here from Rabbi Yoel, י"ד. והיינו כשם שאור אין סוף הוא למעלה עד אין קץ ולמטה עד אין תכליס, just as the infinite manifestation, divine manifestation, goes higher and higher infinitely, and goes lower and lower infinitely, so too, כמו כן גם בעבודת האדם, so too it should be in our divine service. יש מצב, דאם אשק שמיים שם אתה, we can find ourselves in a condition that if I'm ascending to the highest spiritual, blissful worlds, there I find you, God. למעלה מעלה עד אין קץ, and I can go higher and higher and higher infinitely. ויש מצב דהציע שאול הנקה. And there is מצב that when I lie in the abyss, there you are as well. And עד למטה עד אין תכליס, to the lowest of lowest. We will come back to it at the end when we speak about Rebbe Chaim Mushka, Be'ezus Hashem. Let's continue next page, כ"ג. ולכן, and therefore, כשם שבתכליס העילוי דקדושה, שהוא עניין קרני רעמים ברוחניוס, ישנו עניין שערוס הזקן דלמעלה. So the Rebbe is giving an example how you can have a phenomena in Kedusha, in the realm of holiness, and you will find the counterpart also in Klippa, in ungodliness. So he gives an example. Or you have to deal with it. Each one has two sides to it. as you will see. So just as in the highest levels of holiness, which is represented by the horns of the Re'im, as we discussed at length, Yeshno inyan Cyrus hazakan lemala. There is the inyan of the hair of the beard, spiritually. What is the hair of the divine? What is Hashem's beard? What is the divine beard? כמו שכתוב, as it says, ועתיק יומין יסיב לבושי כסלג חיוור ושערי כאמר נקה. That Atik Yomin, which means Or and Sof, the divine infinite, is coming down, Yasiv is coming down, it sits down. Levushem, its garment is white like snow, and Se'ar Shen, the hair of his hair, is like clean wool. And this alludes to the talis and the tzitzis. The talis and the tzitzis indicate the two ways in which Or and Sof relates to the world. There is a way that is the talis, like the garment, which is Or and Sof, that Hasoivev Kolalmin, the way the light of Hashem is not tailored to the capacity of the worlds to perceive it. That's Or HaSoivev, represented by the garment of the talis itself. And then there are the strings. The strings of the talis represent Or HaMemale, the light of Hashem that is now tailored and expresses itself through Gvul, through finitude, and is now tailored to the capacity of each world and each reality to perceive it. And that is as much light as it gets. שזה מורה על גודל ועילוי האור שלמעלה, שזהו עומק רום. שמצד עומק מעלתו אין בכוח לקבלו אלא על ידי צמצומים. שזהו הצמצום שעל ידי הפסק הגולגולס, שלאחר זה נעשה סמיכת השערות. So the Rebbe is bringing the mashal of hair. And in this case, it's the hair that comes out of the skull, the hair of the head. The hair of the head represents a type of a tzimtzum, of a restriction of the divine light that is not gradual. It's not ila ve'alul. Ila ve'alul is cause and effect. There is a gradual descent of the divine light. Less, but each level that you go down can relate to the higher level. And it's a gradual descent. When it comes to Or, which is unlimited, which is infinite, in order to metzamtzum, in order to bring it into the reality of finite, there has to be a tremendous tzimtzum that is like a quantum leap that is represented in the body by saros, by hair. What is the special thing of the hair? That even though the hair grows from the brain and through the hollow thin pipe channel that is in the hair, it draws life and energy from the brain. Nevertheless, when it goes through the interruption of the skull, now the hair is, even though it's still alive and it grows, but the amount of life force is so minute that if you cut the hair, you don't feel any pain, unlike any other limb of the body. And why is it? Because the tzimtzum that the hair represents is a tremendous tzimtzum with the quantum leap between the infinite and the potential of finitude. So that's the holiness that is represented by the holiness of the beard, and also in a nazir, by a person who took on to refrain from drinking any grape products or wine or anything like that. His hair is kadosh, his hair is holy, and he's not allowed to cut it. So the hair here represents the way Hashem is making infinite light available, accessible to finite worlds. It's a special tzimtzum, Cyrus. But, כמו כן, גם בלאום הזה. But because of that, there is also the inyan of the drawing of life of ungodly forces, the לאום הזה, the other side, which שבסיירה אחידן, which where does the klipa come to a woman? To her hair. From the hair, if the hair of the woman is not covered, klipa, ungodly forces, can, because there is such level of tzimtzum, that is almost no life in the hair, but is still life from the brain, which the brain is the connector to the infinite, but it comes from there. But because it's so metzumtzam, the life force is so minute, and even klipa can get some life from it. And therefore, a woman who is married, that then marriage brings a woman to be able to have access to Or and Sof. Now she has to be very careful, because through her hair, she can give Yanika Lachitzoinim, and therefore she has to carefully cover her hair. והיינו, שבמקום שהמשחס אלוקוס היא בצמצום, in a place where godliness comes down in a very restricted way, הנה כאשר ישנו צמצום נוסף, שהוא עניין הסיירוס, אזי יש אחיזה או תפיסה ויניקה ללאום הזה. So when there is an additional tzimtzum through the Cyrus, then there is the klipa can get a hold and seize life from Kedusha. וזהו שמצינו ששיער באישה ערווה. So in a woman who she is the makabel from all the other, she is the makabel from all, she has to be very careful because she receives all the lights from the higher spheres. But she has to be very careful that since she is now, has to bring it in a very metzumtzam way and practical way to apply the will, the infinite will of God into this physical world through sewing and washing dishes and chinuch and taras hamishpacha and Shabbos and cooking and everything. So she has to bring this Or and Sof to a very mitzumtzam kind of human experience that could, God forbid, take a person away, because woman is very much dealing with the world. And if she would not be careful, she can be washed away by the forceful attraction of the different materialistic powers of this world. And therefore, מצאנו ששיער באישה ערווה, that as an uncovered hair by a woman is undesirable. מה שאין כן בנזיר כסיב, קדוש יהיה, גדל פרע שיער ראשו. By Nazir, but the Nazirite, it says that his hair grows wild, the hair of his head. והיינו, לפי שסיירוס the Nazir, הם מבחינת סיירוס לקדושה. Because the Cyrus of the Nazir is a tzimtzum in Kedusha that is not make it available, not making it available for Klipa to get chayus from it. מה שאין כן כאשר הסיירוס הם במקום שיש צמצומים ודינים, which means by a Nazir, the purpose of the tzimtzum by a Nazir is to reveal more light. Because you cannot reveal too much light, and then you are blinding the person. So Hashem wants to reveal a lot of light, but he has to mitzamtzum, because how much can, if he shines too much light into our face, we will be blinded. Chas v'shalom. So there are all kinds of tzimtzum of diminishing the light in a manner, but with the purpose of revealing it to the recipient. But when it comes to sairos that are involved tzimtzumim v'dinim, judgments and tzimtzumim that could be negative, then azai nimshach miyem yanika le'um hazeh. Then it could be that klipa will draw life from that hair. Shezeu omek tachas sheol. This is the representing, if the se'ar, if the hair of the Nazir represents, or the hair of the beard, of a Jewish beard, represents the Omek room, the highest of the highest, which means how infinite light wants to reveal itself. That's the omek room, the depth of the heights. The yenika, the drawing life that the hair of the woman could be making available, is called omek tachas, the depth of the abyss. Why? Sheol, the hell. Why? Because you take the highest energy, which is the kedusha of a woman, and this infinite light that's all gathered in Malchus, and it goes into Klippa. And that is the Omek Tachas. Ach al ze ne'emar, nevertheless, even if a person finds himself in that dark place, al ze ne'emar v'atzia she'ol ineka, when I lay in the abyss, there you are, וכפי שאמר יונה מבטן שאול שיבעתי. As Yonah said, from the belly of the abyss, I was crying out to you. And he's even lower than Yonah, because Yonah, the belly of the fish protected him. There are even lower conditions than that. היינו, שגם מתוך השאול מכיר דהרת אלוקוס. That means that a person can sense godliness from the abyss. ויסרה מזה, even more than that, כמו שכתוב מוריד שאול ויעל, כמבואר שם שירידה זו היא לצורך עלייה, והעלייה ויעל היא לפי ערך הירידה, מוריד. That means that if you really contemplate on this issue, you can see that really there is an intimate interrelation between how low a person descends and how high he will ascend following this descent. There is a straight correlation between the two. והיינו, that means, שמהעונש דמוריד שאול גופה, מובן תכליס העילוי שנעשה על ידו. From the punishment of the situation where a person brings a person, that Hashem brings a person down to hell, this itself makes you understand the ultimate ascent that is intended by this descent. So there is a straight correlation between the two. When you see yourself going down to a low place, you should know that that means שהרי ידוע, that means that Hashem is preparing you to go very high, because it's known שעונשי התורה אינם לשם עונש בעלמא חס ושלום. We know that the punishments of the Torah are not for the sake of taking revenge or punitive reaction, divine reaction, just to punish a person. שהרי התורה היא תורת חסד. Torah is not punitive. Torah is Torah of kindness and generosity and compassion. ואם כן, if this is the case, גם העונש שבתורה הוא עניין של חסד. Even the עונש, the punishments in the Torah is the עניין of חסד. שתכליתו הוא שיתקן ויחזור למוטב. Any punishment, any challenging situation that the person finds himself, the goal of it is that the person should be rectified and go back to his better self. That's the purpose of any punishment. ועד כדי כך, and so far הוא העילוי, and so far is the elevation, so much. The descent is an indication of the ascent, שבשביל זה you can even adapt or integrate the awareness and the consciousness and the choice to think in a manner that בשביל זה כדאי אפילו העניין דמוריד שאול, that for the sake of the ascent that Hashem is intended to bring me, to elevate me, שזהו למטה יותר מעניין הקליפה. That's how much Hashem brings me down to the abyss, which is even lower than עניין הקליפה, which is even lower than klipa that Hashem created, that it has its missions. Its mission is to tempt and to seduce and to block and to challenge, but it does the will of Hashem. Here, this is a lower situation where a person chose to go against the will of Hashem and to use that energy of Hashem's desire that animates everything for ungodly purposes. But yet. כמאמר הז"ל מוטב דלדיינה וליטה לעלמא דעתי. It is better to be judged and punished in hell and to come to the world to come. וכיוון שזהו דין קשה ביותר, and since sometimes a person is experiencing a very harsh din, tragic happens, God forbid, or very difficult suffering or pain, whether it is physical or emotional, whatever it is, דין קשה ביותר, הרי מובן מעלס התיינוג והטובה שמגיעים עליהם. From that one can understand the level of pleasure and good that one reaches following these experiences. ומכל זה מובן שאפילו למטה מטה ביותר, עד לאדם הפושע. So from all this is understood that even the lowest person, a criminal, and פושע בתכלס, an intentional sinner, שבכוח התורה אומר דבר הלכה שהוא הפך התורה, that with the power of Torah and using his knowledge of Torah, he teaches halacha, which is the opposite of Torah. היינו שעל ידי ענייני קדושה גופה מוסיפים כוח בלעומת זה, that through matters of holiness one adds power into the unholiness. הנה גם שם ישנו המשחס אור אינסוף. There too אור אינסוף reaches, שנמשך למטה עד אין תכלס. That it is coming all the way down in an unlimited way. הוא ממשיך במאמר. And the Friedrich Rebbe continues, says the Rebbe, וכל זהו לפי שהאור הוא אין סוף בעצם. How is it and that Nehemiah says, ואתה מחייז כולם, that the אור אין סוף is אין סוף בעצם, is in, by default, how do you say בעצם? In essence, infinite. על כן אין סוף גם כן להספשטוסו. Therefore, there is no end to its manifestation. And as we will learn soon, that means that Or Ein Sof is not only limited to a manifestation and a revelation in a manner of infinity, but Or Ein Sof can also manifest in a manner of Gvul. That a nivra, a world or a creation, can have a perception of a Baal Gvul, of a finite being. This is also part of Or Ein Sof. So, since Or Ein Sof is Ein Sof Be'etzem, it is really in essence Ein Sof, which means it's not limited only to infinity. It also has a power Begvul. This power Begvul, the power of finitude is infinite, but Hashem has a power of Gvul to limit. In any case, Or Ein Sof is Ein Sof Be'etzem, therefore there is no end, Ein Sof גם כן להספשטוסו, בריבוי המדרגות וההשתלשלוס עד למטה מטה ממש. So there is no end to the extension of Or Ein Sof, lower and lower and lower and lower, all the way to the lowest realities, ובכל מקום שהוא נמשך ומתפשט. But even though Or Ein Sof is there in each and every world and relating to the reality of each and every world, nevertheless, eino b'ispilus v'ishtanus klal. Or Ein Sof does not get affected. We don't know such a I mean, the mashal that Chassidus gives is like sun, like or, light, the sunlight. So sunlight is shining in different places, in different situations, different locations, but it itself doesn't change. It can go through different glass or different elements. It can be experienced in different ways, stronger, dimmer. It could be coming through colored glass, and it will look like red light or green light, and so on and so forth. But really, there is no Hishtanus klal. there is no hispalus b'shtanos klal. Usually when we get involved and when we get engaged and when we get invested, we react. We are affected. That's a real relationship. However, the way Or and Sof is present in creation, even though he is everywhere and in each place according to its reality, nevertheless, Or and Sof is present in the worlds, not like the presence of the soul in the body. Why? The Haneshama haremi hi mispaeles b'mikre haguf. The neshama gets affected from the occurrences of the guf. If the guf doesn't feel well, if the guf is not feeling well, it affects the soul. And if the soul doesn't feel well and is depressed or whatever, or angry, it can affect the body and create ulcer. Who knows? Chas v'shalom. אבל האור האלוקי המחיה ומהווה, but the divine light that animates and brings to existence, creates, אינו מספעל ואינו משתנה כלל. It does not react and does not get affected and does not change at all. ומה שיכול להיות שינוי בהאור על ידי ההסלבשוס, but you could see that through hislabshus there could be a change in the light, at least the way it is perceived. So the Rebbe says, והיינו מה שההסלבשוס פועל איזה שינוי, הוא רק באחיוס שבבחינס כוח. So what does it mean? It means that the general chayus, that let's say, take the example of a person. The general chayus that the soul animates the body, that is one type of chayus that is equally present all over and doesn't get affected by the different organs. That's or and chayus. Then the Rebbe says, there is energy that is in the manner of koach. That means how the nefesh now breaks down to the different powers according to the different organs. Like now, even though it's the same nefesh that animates all organs, like it makes the eye alive, the same way that it makes the arm alive, and the same way that it makes the heart alive, and the brain alive. So that is all equally present. But the way it breaks down, that in the eye, now there will be seeing, and in the ear there will be hearing, and in the brain there will be thinking and intellect, that is in the way Chayus breaks down to Koach. That means, and what does it mean spiritually, Lemaila? וידוע דחיוס שהוא בחינת כוח הוא מהכלים דבייה. So the Chayus that comes from Atzilus to enliven, animate the worlds is all equal. It doesn't change. It doesn't get affected. Doesn't change. Nothing. However, when God's energy breaks down to different powers, how is that happening? Not from Atzilus, because when the energy comes from the kelim of Atzilus, in Atzilus, the kelim and the vessels, the vessels and the light are all one with Or and Sof. So the kelim of Atzilus are even creating, even though they potentially enable the possibility of a perception of gvul, of measure and finitude and limitation. But in Atzilus, it's all one with Or and Sof. It's still oneness. And it's just a potential. So when do you see that the divine energy now changes? That is in Koyach. Where is the Koyach created? From the Kelim of Biyah. Biyah is a different reality than Atzilus. In Atzilus, anything, even the power of Gvul, even the power of finitude is infinite. Hashem has an infinite power to limit. Everything is infinite in Atzilus. Everything is one. But in Biyah is a different reality. Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya, the created worlds, are a different reality. Their reality is that they exist separate from their source. That's how they feel. We feel that we exist separately from our source. And therefore, what does it mean that now the energy changes? That's from the kelim of Biyah. All spheros have oros and kelim. The way the spheros coming down to Biyah, from kelim of Biyah, then the kelim of Biyah, rehem bivchinas metzius. The kelim of Biyah create an experience of a reality, of an existence that feels itself separate from its source. Separately from its source. וכדאית באיגרת הקודש הנ"ל, דרשיס היש הן כלים דביה. So, Kabbalistically, the beginning of yesh, which means the beginning of the possibility of something to feel separate from its source, to feel itself as an entity separately from its source, is in the kelim of Biyah. Higher than that, it's all one. ומשום זה שייך בהם השינוי והאספיילוס. And because of that, there will be a change. אבל באור המחיה, אין בו שום שינוי ואספיילוס כלל. But when Nehemiah says, ואתה מחיה את כולם, the light that animates everything is the same light and doesn't change at all. And now the Rebbe goes into a Kabbalistically, a little more deeper discussion that I think I'm going to leave for next time, Be'ezras Hashem. So I'm assuming that we will probably have another 2 shiurim, maybe 2 or 3, hopefully 2, and then we'll finish Be'ezras Hashem. After the Istalkos of the Rebbetzin, the Rebbe very frequently quoted the expression "V'achar yiten el libo." I'm bringing here from Rabbi Gopin. There's a few words about it. Chaf Beit Shevat. V'achar yiten el libo. The living should take to heart. And that means that the approach of the Rebbe to the tragedy of the departure of, so to speak, of the Rebbetzin, the approach was and is to channel the pain and the sense of loss to strengthen and awaken oneself in Avodas Hashem. And as the Rebbe said in Yechidus to one of the Bachorim, and that very much reflects what we are learning now in Basi Legani, that Or Ein Sof lemata mata ad en tachlis im atzia sheol hineka sham hineka, that even if I lie down in hell, there you are, I can find you there, because you are there, you created this reality, and this, the pnimius of this reality is how high you want to bring me. But in any case, the Rebbe said to one of the Bachorim in Yechidus that a person always experiences changes in his life. And sometimes a person can find himself in a matzav of simcha, of joy, and sometimes in a condition of merirus and bitterness and pain. And the Rebbe says that one should know how to utilize each condition in the direction of kedusha, of holiness and godliness, which mean, for instance, a matzav of simcha, says the Rebbe, a condition of joy, has to be used to learn Torah be'archava, which means when you are in a condition of joy, you are more expansive in your experience, and therefore you should really learn Torah in an expansive way. However, when one finds himself in a condition of more depression and aloneness and so on, and bitterness, the Rebbe says, Yesh lilmod Torah ba'amkus. In that case, the person should learn Torah in depth, go into really digging deep. And the Rebbe definitely utilized the occurrences of Chof Beis Shevat to add a lot of action and doing it b'simcha. So immediately after the levaya of the Rebbetzin, the Rebbe came back home and he davened mincha, and after that he began and said a sicha, a talk, and he began with the halacha that even though the custom is that in the first 3 days one is not menachem, doesn't come to console, a person who lost someone in the first 3 days, there are heterim to come to Menachem to console the Avelim even the first day, the Rebbe says. Why? The first reason and the most important reason is that Nichum Avelim brings to Abbas Israel. So right there the Rebbe says, open his door, come from the first day and let's practice Abbas Israel. That is the first thing that we can do as a result of this loss. Now, the first Shabbos, after the Istalkus, the Rebbe verbracht, and he brought what the Zohar says that there are 2 types of neshamos. Those who learned with me Torah Or last night, I know what I'm talking about. Zera Adam and Zera Behema. Or it was, it was Samach Vav, I'm sorry. The Shir in Samach Vav. But in Torah Or, in Parshas Mishpatim, you can read it, right there in the beginning. In any case, says the Rebbe, there are 2 types of neshamos. Basically, neshamos of Biyah, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah, the created worlds, and there are neshamos of Atzilus, Tzadikim. So neshamos the Biyah are most of the neshamos, the Yiddish neshamos, which are called Eved, which is the higher neshamos that come from Atzilus are called the Ben. They are like a child of Hashem. And the lower neshamos that come from Biyah are called Eved. They are the servant of Hashem. In any case, most of the neshamos of Yidden are on the level of Eved, and there is a mixture of Tov Vera, and in order to become clear and purified and refined, they have to go through a whole order of Gilgulim, of incarnations, and it's a long process until the soul is really refined and clear. Then you have the second type of neshamos of tzaddikim, of righteous people, that they are neshamos that are bivchinas ben. They are like a child of Hashem. They are close. Shehen tov gamur, the Rebbe says. They are complete good, and they do not to have to grapple and to battle and to struggle with evil. They are just transforming and rectifying the Ra in this world without needing to battle with evil, because they are higher. And the Rebbe explained that first Shabbos, after the Talkus of the Rebbetzin, that she was a Bas Melech, she was a daughter of a king, Tzidkanis Mineshamos Datzilus, says the Rebbe. She was a righteous soul from the souls of Atzilus. And surely, the Rebbe says, God himself is engaged in her ascending to the highest realms. And right after that, the Rebbe instructed to establish moistos after her name, to call them by her name, and to do it as soon as possible, and to be very cautious not to interfere with the other moistos authority, Asagas Gvul, and so on. In the first Yortzeit of the Rebbetzin, Chav B'Shvat Tafshin Memtes, the first Istalkus was Tismach Memches, the Rebbe also had a Farbrengen, and he said that regarding tzaddikim, we use the term Istalkus, and not the term of passing or dying. And even though in the Lashon HaKodesh, Istalkus means departing, departing, and it could indicate a disconnect, going away. Istalkus, Lashon separation. But in Aramaic, the word Istalkus means aliyah, means ascending to a higher level, and therefore you can shine more light. And when a tzaddik passes away, and especially a tzaddikis like the Rebbetzin, who is neshama of Bas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, neshama of Atzilus, that their reality is one with godliness, in a manner of not just conceptual, but experiential. They see Elokus. So when a tzaddik passes away, all his actions are ascending to the heights, and this works like a creation of clouds that are created by moisture and steam that comes from the earth and eventually comes down as a rain. And so too, the Rebbe says, the neshama of a tzaddik that is mistalek and of such caliber, of course, when it comes to her yortzeit, her neshama operates like that cloud of blessings, that as a result of all her accomplishments in this world, now she is operating at a source of bracha to mashpia all blessings, begashmius, beruchmius, and everyone should, first of all, have all the wishes fulfill l'toiba v'livracha, and the wishes that we all have for the immediate and complete victory of the soldiers that are defending the Jewish soil and the Jewish land, the holy Jewish land, from koichos atuma. All this should end very soon and with complete victory, and all those who need refuah should be miraculously healed, and Hashem should console those who lost their dear ones by bringing the Geula Amitis V'Ashleima and Tchias HaMesim Teku Miyad Mamash. Now, tomorrow there is a program of Neshei Chabad in Ole Torah, is it? No, in where is it, Shirley?
Lefferts, Beis Rivka Lefferts.
Beis Rivka Lefferts.
Right. So everybody's invited. We'll hear many more personal things about the Rebbetzin, who was a giant, and still is, and is still bestowing upon us brachos le'en kates, and from every year, her energy grows and grows and grows and grows in a manner that we are blessed in ways that we are not even aware of. And everybody should see it in a revealed way that we can appreciate the Matar Masarat Fachim.
How much control does the level of our neshama have on us, and can it be changed?
Listen, everybody is given freedom of choice. That's nobody can take that away, and that makes each and everyone's challenges and struggles very meaningful and very real, you know. And but at the same time, and that is also a big point of Basi Legani, is, you know, the next shiur we will talk about the fact that the brothers of Yosef couldn't recognize him. It wasn't just a physical thing. They couldn't understand how a person can be in this world, maintain the awareness and the consciousness of Atzilus, and yet run the whole country and the economy and the accountings and everything else to the details without being drifted away in the confusing, very strong, magnetic, addictive powers, political and financial and selfish and egotistic powers that are playing roles in this world. And this is also represented by the name Chaya Mushka, according to the Rebbe. It's the same point the Rebbe is making again and again, that our mission is to bring the Shechina Lemata Betachtoinim in this physical world. And the name Chaya Mushka represents that. It's a combination of Memale and Soibeb. Chaya is the end of Chayus. Now everything is animated in an individual way. That's the end of Chayus. And Mushka is a fragrance. That means reach, it means makif. So Soibeb and Memale, we can merge, and this is the point of this maimar. And that's why Lo Hikiruhu, the shita of the brothers of Yosef was, you want to maintain intimacy with God, you need to go away from the world. You cannot be engaged in the world. You have to be Etzon, you have to be a shepherd. Only go, leave the confinements of leave the Gvul. Because Gvul is already a problem. Stay in the infinite. meditate. But the Shita of Yosef is higher. Yosef says you can maintain divinity and elokus and kedusha, dealing with the physical details of this wild
world,
materialistic world. And that's the end of Chayamushka, the combination of Soivav and Memale. And that's the shlichus of a Jew, to unify, because we are always split, between Shabbos and weekdays, between Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara. There's always duality between this and that. You have to leave this world in order to enter that world. No, said Yiddishkeit. You don't go run away to the mountains. You combine the Soivav and the Memale. You combine, you show, you reveal how the finite is really an expression of the infinite. Ein od milvadoi. That's our mission, and it is represented in her name. Chaya, which means internal chayus, and Mushka, which means Memale, and Mushka, which means Soivav. Like the talis and the tzitzis, the same idea of combining the infinite with the finite and creating unity that brings peace into this world. And the heads, the Rosh, is the one that runs the show, and the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin are nurturing us with das, like Moshe Rabbeinu. Every generation has its Moshe Rabbeinu that nurtures us with das, with consciousness and awareness, to be able to internalize the presence of Hashem, that it should become real and not just a concept.
Right.
And affect us, to change us completely.